The Champions League final has now been decided, with both Borussia Dortmund and Real Madrid making the final. So now it's only right that I make my predictions on this amazing game and say who I think will win the Champions League this year. And trust me, you're gonna want to stay until the end, because I may or may not go with a crazy upset in this video. Let's start this off by talking about Borussia Dortmund though, the first finalists this year, and how they made it to this point. Now Borussia Dortmund were actually put into the group of death in this year's Champions League campaign, with that being in a group consisting of PSG, AC Milan, and Newcastle. And not many people expected Dortmund to pull something off here, but they managed to do so, despite getting off to a bad start in the group, with them losing to PSG away from home 2-0, and then drawing to AC Milan at home 0-0. Dortmund went away to Newcastle and surprised everybody by coming out with a 1-0 victory thanks to Nabhuto's goal before halftime. After that, Dortmund proceeded to beat Newcastle at home 2-0, and then AC Milan away from home 3-1 to put them in a very good spot of going through. Not just that though, thanks to a 1-1 draw at Signal Iduna Park against PSG, Dortmund actually finished on top of the group, giving them a favorable draw for the round of 16. And favorable it was, because Borussia Dortmund might have gone in one of the most favorable matchups out of every team, PSV Eindhoven. Now I'm not saying PSV Eindhoven are some easy walkover of a team, because they're far from that. In fact, they actually walked to the Eredivisie title this year, but considering the other options that Dortmund could have faced in the round of 16, like Inter Milan, Napoli, RB Leipzig, etc., this was a decent draw for them. The first leg didn't go quite as planned though, because despite Dortmund going up in the game, thanks to ex-PSV player Daniel Malen, Dortmund conceded a penalty with a foul on the American Malatoman in the box, and Luke de Jong converted it to end the game 1-1. This meant that Borussia Dortmund had to come away with the victory at home in the second leg, which is exactly what they did, thanks to a wonder goal from the new Dortmund signing from the winter, Jadon Sancho, early on in the match, and then the BVB legend Marco Reus finishing the game off in the dying minutes. This gave Dortmund a 2-0 win, and a chance to play Atletico Madrid in the quarterfinals. Now Atletico Madrid were looking hot in this year's Champions League campaign. Not only did they finish on top of the group, but they beat last year's finalists Inter Milan in the round of 16. And because of that, a lot of qualified pundits were starting to say that Atletico Madrid could be the dark horses to win the Champions League this year. But oh boy, they were so wrong. However, the first leg didn't go to plan for Borussia Dortmund, because they were getting dominated by Atletico Madrid for almost the entire game. And Atletico Madrid has something to show for it, with Rodrygo the ball putting his side up 1-0 early on in the match, and then Samuel Lino scoring from a great chance set up by Griezmann to give Atletico a much deserved 2-0 lead. However, Atletico Madrid failed to completely kill off Borussia Dortmund in this tie.
You should have gone for the head.
And Sebastian Aller bags a goal for Dortmund late into the match to give his side hope that they can come back in the second leg. And that's quite literally what happened. But it wasn't smooth sailing for Dortmund though. It took a lot of effort to overcome this tie. And although Julian Brandt scored in the 34th minute and Ian Maatsen scored 5 minutes later to put Dortmund ahead on the tie by 1 goal, the second half didn't start so well for the black and yellow, with Mats Hummels accidentally scoring an own goal in the 49th minute and around 15 minutes later conceding to Angel Correa, which put Atletico ahead on aggregate. However, Borussia Dortmund didn't capitulate for once. I know, it's a rarity for them, respectfully. And Füllkrug managed to score a header to level up the tie again against Atletico Madrid. And then Sabitzer sealed the deal 3 minutes later by scoring a longish range effort to help the black and yellow win on aggregate 5-4 to take them through to the semifinals. Did Borussia Dortmund actually come through in a must-win game? Yeah, this isn't a common occurrence. There was something special about this Borussia Dortmund side that all of us should have seen sooner, including me, because I thought they were actually going to lose in the semifinals. Anyway, speaking about the semifinals, Borussia Dortmund were drawn up against PSG, a team they had in their group, and a team they couldn't beat at all in the 2 games. But this time it was different, because PSG, in the moment where it mattered, was caught sleeping defensively, and Schlotterbeck launched in a ball to Füllkrug, who slammed it into the back of the net in the first leg to put Dortmund up 1-0 in the tie. This goal also ended up costing Lucas Hernandez his ACL, so speedy recovery to him. Moving on to the second half though, it looked like PSG had a chance of coming back in the first leg, with them starting to attack more. In fact, Mbappe had a good chance to score, but unluckily hit the post. And then in the same attack, Hakimi shot the ball, and that also hit the post. PSG got more chances than that too, with Fabian Ruiz having a good chance by heading it wide, and then Ousmane Dembele having a great chance but shot the ball to the moon. After having more chances like this, PSG failed to equalize in the first leg, and Dortmund were going away to Paris with a 1-goal advantage. But even at this point, a lot of football fans, including myself, thought that PSG could easily come back. After all, they're way better on paper, and it'll be in Paris at home for them. Surely Dortmund could have kept a clean sheet against PSG in their home stadium, right? But Dortmund did exactly that and even more, because not only did they keep a clean sheet, sheet, but Mats Hummels capitalized off a corner kick in the second half to put Borussia Dortmund up 1-0 on the night and 2-0 up on aggregate. And even though PSG had some great chances, like Warren and Marie, who hit the ball off the post, Nuno Mendes' long shot that also hit the post, Vitinha's rocket which hit the crossbar, and Kylian Mbappe also hitting the crossbar too, PSG failed to score on the night. I swear, I've never seen a team hit the post more in a Champions League knockout tie than PSG against Borussia Dortmund. I guarantee you PSG fans were going insane watching this game. But sometimes, all you need is a little bit of luck. And clearly, PSG had none, while Borussia Dortmund had a ton. Damn, that rhymed, bro. I'm cooking, bro. Anyways, with that, Borussia Dortmund protected their 2-0 aggregate lead and secured their ticket for the Champions League final at Wembley, where they would have to play, Real Madrid. Yeah, it's not looking too good, Dortmund fans. Now, before I give my 100% right prediction, let's talk about Real Madrid's route to the Champions League final. But real quick before we get on with that though, please remember to subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it and it means a lot, so thank you. And also, if you guys can, follow my Twitter and my Instagram, both at Nabhuto, if you just want to hear my thoughts on football games, transfers, and overall, just to get to know me more. So if you want to, feel free to hit me up with that follow. Thank you. Back to Real Madrid though, they were put in a considerably favorable group consisting of Napoli, SC Braga, and Union Berlin. And Real Madrid pretty much dog-walked this group in terms of getting results, not gonna lie. Basically running through it, the first game against Union Berlin was a bit of a struggle for Madrid, but in the 90 plus 4th minute, Jude Bellingham clutched up for his side and secured the 3 points. Then away to Napoli, Real Madrid beat them 3-2, and proceeded to go away to Braga after that and smack them 2-1. Following that, Real Madrid smoked Braga at home 3-0, smoked Napoli 4-2, and went away to Germany and beat Berlin 3-2. And with that, Real Madrid were one out of the only two sides to win every single group stage game in the Champions League this year, with Man City being the only other side to do this. Moving on to the round of 16, Real Madrid were faced with the challenge of RB Leipzig, but thanks to Brahim Diaz's lone goal in the first leg away from home, which secured a 1-0 victory for Madrid, the 1-1 draw at home at the Bernabeu didn't matter much, because Real Madrid went through to the quarters 2-1 on aggregate. Now the quarterfinals were a bit more challenging, with Real Madrid having to face last year's champions, Manchester City, who by the way smoked Madrid 4-0 at the Etihad last time out. This time was different though. In the first leg however, these two sides couldn't be separated, and despite Man City scoring 3 world-class goals from Bernardo Silva early on, then Phil Foden in the 66th minute and Gvardiol in the 71st minute, Madrid had class goals of their own, with an own goal from Ruben Diaz early on in the match, Rodrygo scoring from a solo run 2 minutes after, and then Valverde scoring one hell of a volley to level up the match 3-3. Then in the second leg, these two sides couldn't be separated in normal time either, with Rodrygo scoring early on in the match, and then Kevin De Bruyne scoring later in the game in the 76th minute. And with the game ending in a stalemate, these two clubs had to go to a penalty shootout, and thanks to Lunin, who saved an absolutely dreadful penalty from Bernardo Silva, and a Kovacic penalty right after, Real Madrid secured their semi-final ticket in the Champions League for a 3rd season in a row. But in the semi-finals, Real Madrid had the difficult task of playing the German giants Bayern Munich, who this year, for the first time in 11 years, didn't win the Bundesliga because of Bayer Leverkusen's ridiculous run. So best believe Bayern Munich were itching for the Champions League trophy this year. And not gonna lie, in the first leg away in Munich, Real Madrid were getting dominated. Luckily though, due to Kim Min-jae dropping a disaster class of a defensive performance, Real Madrid were able to score, with Vinicius using an NFL run-time move on Kim in the 24th minute to score a goal, and then scored an 83rd minute penalty from a foul from Kim to score a brace in the game. In all honesty, if Bayern's defense was as strong as it should be, Leroy Sané's goal in the 53rd minute and Harry Kane's penalty in the 57th minute should have given them a 2-0 lead heading into the second leg. But instead, it ended off 2-2 and it was all to play for at the Bernabeu. And even then in the second leg, Bayern Munich seemed like the ones going through, thanks to an absolute wonder strike from Alphonso Davies' weak foot in the 68th minute to give Bayern a huge 1-0 lead. But as we all should know by now, Real Madrid in the Champions League is just a different beast, man. You just can't compete with them, especially because sometimes they might have the referees on their side.
Can't fucking compete! I just can't fucking compete! Can you get the fuck out of my face?
And in the 88th minute, Joselu scored off a Neuer fumble, which was surprising to see, not gonna lie, and leveled up the tie for Madrid. But then, 3 minutes later in the 90 plus 1st minute, Joselu scored once again to put Madrid up 2-1 on the night and on aggregate. Crazy because a few years ago, this dude Joselu was playing for Stoke City, and now he's scoring goals for Real Madrid in a Champions League semi-final. If this doesn't motivate y'all that anything is possible, then nothing will. And regardless of that very suspicious decision at the end of the game, calling Bayern's goal off before the ball went in, making it not able to go to VAR, Madrid secured their tickets to the Champions League final at Wembley and are set to play Borussia Dortmund. Yeah, this Champions League final is gonna be a good one. Now for what y'all been waiting for, my Champions League final prediction between Borussia Dortmund and Real Madrid. Wow, I can't believe it. Dortmund in the Champions League final? Crazy. In fact, the last time they were in a Champions League final was back in 2013, which was also at Wembley too, where they lost to Bayern Munich 2-1. We could have had a repeat of that same exact final in the same exact location if Real Madrid just didn't exist. But anyways, the storylines for this Champions League final are all-timers, especially especially the Dortmund storyline regarding Marco Reus. If y'all been sleeping under a rock, Marco Reus has announced that this is going to be his last season with Borussia Dortmund, and after being a loyal servant for multiple years, he's going to be leaving the club. Now, Marco Reus hasn't won anything huge for Borussia Dortmund, apart from like a German Super Cup against Bayern Munich and a couple of DFB Pokal Cups as well. I'm not gonna lie, Reus has been extremely unlucky in his career. He sadly missed the 2014 World Cup, which Germany won, because he got injured in a friendly right before the tournament. He also then lost the Champions League final in 2013, and his team was runners-up in multiple Bundesliga campaigns against Bayern Munich. And last year, he was part of a side that had the biggest choke in Bundesliga history after drawing on the last match day. But now, in Marco Reus's last match for the club, he could be lifting a Champions League trophy for the club that he's been so loyal to. Yeah, Reus deserves this. Here's the problem though. The dots are connecting for Real Madrid to win this Champions League trophy. In the past few finals for Madrid, one of their star players got to lift the Champions League for the club in their home country. For example, Ronaldo won the Champions League for Real Madrid in Lisbon, Portugal in 2014. Gareth Bale then lifted the Champions League for Madrid in 2017 in Cardiff, Wales. Benzema then lifted the Champions League in Paris, France. And now in 2024, Jude Bellingham has a chance to win the Champions League in his home country of England, since the final is in London. It seems inevitable.
I am inevitable.
Plus, Carlo Ancelotti has now made 6 Champions League finals, and before this one, he's won 4 out of the 5 times he's been in the final. The only time Ancelotti lost a Champions League final was all the way back in 2005, where Liverpool played AC Milan in Istanbul, where Liverpool came back from 3-0 down to draw 3-3 and win on penalties. So basically, if Borussia Dortmund want to win this Champions League trophy, they have to pull off an absolute miracle against Ancelotti's side. And also, they're gonna need a ton of luck. And honestly, I'm gonna keep it straight up with you guys. There's a 99% chance that Real Madrid is gonna win this Champions League trophy. But that 1%, man, the Marco Reus story, it's something that the football world needs to see, bro. If you think about it, Real Madrid could go on and win 15 more Champions Leagues in like the next 30 years. But when are we ever really gonna see Dortmund playing for a Champions League trophy again? Probably never. So, with that being said, and because the streets need to see Marco Reus be happy, I'm gonna go for an absolute shithouse victory from Borussia Dortmund, and they'll beat Real Madrid 2-1 in the final, with Marco Reus scoring off the bench to give his side the lead and the trophy. Yeah, Borussia Dortmund, I believe in y'all. Come on! Anyways, let me know who you guys got winning the Champions League final in the comments down below. And also let me know the scoreline and the goal scores of the game. I would love to know what you guys think. Now, if you did enjoy this one, please remember to subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. And please be sure to follow my Twitter and my Instagram. The links are in my YouTube description. And last but not least, if you want to learn more about me, I made a 100,000 subscriber Q&A video that y'all should definitely check out. So click this video right here. You won't regret it.